Hey Stampin' Blend besties, it's Jessie here. Are you ready for your first kit? If you're watching this, this means you got your kit. And in that kit, you're going to find your Melon Mambo Stampin' Blends, your Granny Apple Green Stampin' Blends, and a color lifter. In addition to that, you should have your class pack materials, which are your watermelon prints. You should have 2 of these. And then I sent you an additional watermelon coloring page. This is for you to do later. I just figured while you're waiting for the next kit, you might want to practice. So we have that. In addition to that, you should have your card making kit, which has all your paper products to make 2 cards. Now I'm going to show you what we're going to make today. So we're going to color the watermelons, fussy cut them out. Aren't these pretty? And we're going to make these 2 cards. Super fun. Now, to get myself in the mood, and because I'm crazy, I got this Febreze Air Mist Sweet Watermelon Vibes spray. So I just, spritzed it around the room. I smell watermelon. I'm thinking summer. I'm thinking the 4th of July. I don't know why. We don't know why. And if you've never seen me before, yes, I am always this crazy. But I almost sprayed this on your packages just so that when you got them and you opened it, like you smelled watermelon, but I was afraid it was gonna mess with the packaging or the paper. So I restrained myself. You're welcome. But I did, I was honestly thinking about doing that. Okay, one more thing before I get started is that you'll need to go around your craft room and grab a few additional items just so when we get into the card making part, you're prepared. So if you have some ink, now on your class outline, it'll say additional items needed and all that stuff is there. So some ink if you have it, some acrylic stamp blocks, a stamp set that has some sentiments that you would like to use on your cards, and then the basics. Some glue or adhesive of some kind, a bone folder would be handy, a pair of snips, and maybe you take your pick tool. But if you don't have that, it's no big deal, we have fingers. All right, so I think we're ready. I'm gonna flip down to the mat and we're gonna get blending. Okay guys, we're ready to get started. Go ahead and grab one of your watermelon project sheets, your Stampin' Blend markers. Now, one thing I didn't mention in the introductory video, your markers will bleed through your paper. And this can get on your work surface. There's nothing wrong with that. You want this to happen, but we just need to protect our work surface. If you have a glass mat, that'll work perfectly. You can wash it off, no problem. But if not, grab a paper, a piece of scratch paper or something just to protect your work surface. Now, I'm using my glass mat, but because of glare, I put a paper mat down too. I explain myself very well. The first thing we're gonna do is swatch our colors. This is important so that you know how the colors work with each other and react, and make sure that those are the colors you wanna use, okay? So I took the light Melon Mambo, did a little squiggle, then I went in with dark Melon Mambo, and I went over some of the light and then just kept going. Now let's repeat the process with our Granny Apple Green. When I'm doing a coloring project, I always have like a piece of paper and I swatch everything. And that way when I'm working, I can just at a glance kind of see if that's what I want to use, or if you're using a darker piece of paper or a gray or something, is it going to show up? It's good to do. Now I'm going to take my color lifter, and with the bullet tip, I'm just going to make a line through the swatch. And that is to show you how the color lifter works and what it's going to look like when you add highlights to your project. Isn't that neat? Just pulls it up. Okay, so now I want you to choose a watermelon wedge to get started with. We're gonna go in with the light Melon Mambo, and you can use whichever tip you want. Also, when you're swatching, if you want to, go ahead and do the bullet tip too to see if there's a difference. It seems to be a little bit lighter. Just something to do, okay? But I'm gonna go in with my broad tip or my paintbrush tip, and I'm just gonna lay down some color. Now I'm not being super careful. I'm not going all the way, and I'm gonna color over those watermelon seeds because we're gonna darken them in later with a Sharpie or a black marker. That's one thing I forgot to mention that you're gonna need, but usually everybody has something. Now, if you were to look at a picture of a watermelon, you're gonna see that the rind is super green. As it transitions up into the flesh of the watermelon, it's gonna get lighter and lighter. And then somewhere around this part, it's almost like translucent. It's starting to go from green to pink. You know what I'm talking about? So we're gonna try to create that effect today. So I put down some light. I'm gonna take my dark Melon Mambo, and I'm just gonna give some highlight, or not really, I guess low light is what you call it, some depth. Like this, just into the flesh. Just some streaking or dotting, you could dot. Now we're gonna smooth this out. So if you're going, oh my goodness, that's a hot mess. At this point, absolutely, but we're gonna fix it, don't you worry. Now another good thing to mention is as our colors dry, as that alcohol kind of evaporates out into the universe, this is going to get a little bit lighter, and it's also in the process of blending together. So you're going to see a real transformation. Now I'm going to go back in with my light, kind of clean up anywhere that the ink didn't travel to. Take your time. Go slowly, and then I'm going to go over everything to blend it, okay? Now, while I'm letting that dry, and we'll go back to it, I like to do things, kind of let them rest and work on a different area, going back and forth. Okay, this is dark. I'm gonna work with the light next. And I'm just gonna do that middle part. Now, sometimes with Stampin' blends, it really is just filling in the spots you want with a little bit of color. Then there's going to be times when we do shading techniques. This is just an introductory to get us comfortable with using the pens, the different tips. I made it really easy for us. As we go on this journey, we're going to be learning different techniques, all the good things. So I'm excited. Now, some of you might have worked with Copic markers, and you already might be well beyond this stage, but I'm just assuming that everybody's starting off at the beginning. So I'm sorry. Now I took the darker Granny Apple Green and I filled in the edge of that rind like that. Okay, and now I'm gonna go back in with my light, but I'm just gonna go a little bit over into the dark and kind of blend the area like so. Are you seeing the effects of the different inks and how they're working together? Now I'm just going to clean up my area. I missed a little bit. There's a little white showing like that with some light Melon Mambo. Now this is looking really good. I'm happy with it. I think it's going to look great for our project and I'm ready to move on. But I just want to do some highlighting and show you a neat technique. So I'm taking my color lifter and I'm going to do little swirls and just go over the Melon Mambo portion of my watermelon. This is going to give it kind of like a mottled effect and look more like the flesh of a watermelon, I feel like. If you like this technique, you can use it. If you do one and you go, you know, I don't really like that, it's perfectly fine. It's your watermelon wedge. You do it the way you like it to look. But at least give it a try on one of them to see if you like it. Now I'm going to move on and repeat the process one more time. Just while you're watching me, color along, play with your markers. Don't be afraid. Do what you want to do and see what you come up with. The whole goal is that we're going to color all the watermelon wedges. Then we can move on to creating our cards. So I like to turn around my paper. I don't know why, I just feel like it's easier to stay within the lines, maybe? I don't know. My brain just says turn the paper. Okay, so I'm gonna let that sit for a second. I'll give it a couple highlights here. Now, what I noticed from looking at some watermelon was that it's darker towards the center and then lighter on the bottom. So I liked to kind of streak it with the dark. Okay, so what else? The next colors in August's kit is going to be Daffodil Delight and Blueberry Bushel. That way we'll have a yellow, a blue, a green, and a pink, pinky red. So that'll give us 4 colors to work with. And we're going to be doing a little bit more complicated coloring. You know, I'm going to step it up a little bit. I'm not going to go crazy hard because I want to take us in baby steps and move our way up. But I have so many plans for us coming. I'm excited that we're finally here and we're finally started. Okay, I'm going to take that light again, just go back over it. And also, I'm going to do a accidental boo-boo. Let's say you're going super fast and you kind of hit it out of the line. No problem, don't panic. Now I know we're going to cut that off anyway for this, doesn't really matter, but sometimes you just want to color an image and you're not going to cut it out. If you go outside the lines, take your color lifter pen, go over the color and push it towards where you want that color to live. So I'm pushing it towards the pink, right? I want it back in with the pink. You see what happened? It's like an eraser. Isn't that great? I'm telling you, I'm obsessed with these. So many uses. All right, so now let me add some highlight. Comment in the video comment section of the video and let me know what you're thinking. Any questions you might have, and I will definitely review it. And tell me if you like this effect. Does it look like watermelon to you? More so, like more depth, or what? Okay, now I'm gonna grab a marker. A basic black Stampin' Right marker. These are water-based. And I'm just going to fill in, but you could do this with a Sharpie, whatever you got. I'm gonna fill in my seeds. And to me, that really finishes off the watermelon. Now I'm gonna pop off camera. I'm gonna finish the rest of my watermelons. And then when I come back, we're gonna move on to the project. If you are happy with your first sheets of watermelon, you can go ahead and fussy cut them out and then start the video back up. If you're, just getting used to it and you want to color in your second sheet and pick and choose between the watermelons, but you're gonna want 3 wedges at least and 1 half piece. Okay, I'll see you in a few. For this card, you're gonna just need your watermelon wedges that should be colored and fussy cut out at this point. You can go ahead and take your half watermelon and set that to the side. The class materials you will need out of your packet is the Granny Apple Green embossed card base, a piece of Melon Mambo designer series paper. This is from the Zany Zinnia pack. And then 2 white rectangles. One is a 5 1/4 by 4. The other, I'm not sure. I believe it's 3 3/4 by 5, but you get the idea. Now, remember when I told you that when you're coloring, it's supposed to bleed through, but it will mar up your workspace? Look at all that ink that would have been on my table. So I'm glad I protected my surface. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna fold our cardstock on the score line, and we're just gonna crease it down lightly because you don't want to flatten that beautiful eyelet embossing on the front. It shouldn't hurt it if you do it light enough. Now we're going to take the smaller of the 2 white sheets and we're going to work with that to create our front. First thing I want you to do is just glue your Melon Mambo piece to your white piece. You can choose which pattern you like. I'm going to go ahead and use some Tombow glue. I'm going to match it up on the bottom. As closely as possible. Now, I sent you some Melon Mambo ribbon. On my example card, I did use some green polka dot ribbon that I had. I got it from like Hobby Lobby a long time ago, and I just thought it looked super cute. But I didn't have enough to send to the group. So I didn't want to, everybody to be different. I wanted us all to be the same. So this time, we're just going to work with this Melon Mambo satin ribbon. And let's see what I want to do. I think we could go right above. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fix it right above by, if you have some dry adhesive, you could put it right on that line and then stick it down. I don't have that in front of me, and I'm not sure that you guys are gonna have that, so I don't wanna do that. I'm just gonna take a little bit of liquid glue on each side, cut a piece of this off. You can cut yours so that it fits, and then maybe we can do like a little knot or a bow afterwards. But let's see what we're working with here. Okay. And that probably was even too much. But this is going to glue down pretty flat onto the card. So I would suggest maybe even if you have some tear-in tape, I like to put that right over it just for extra, you know, hold. Actually, I'm going to cheat. I'm sorry. Just because we don't want to be standing here watching the glue dry, I have some dry adhesive here. Nobody will know, right? Okay. And then you can adjust it on the front like that. I'm just letting that liquid glue, we'll just deal with it. We'll deal with it, it'll be fine. So here's where we're starting. And probably before you mess with the ribbon, go ahead and take whatever stamp set that you're choosing to use, choose a sentiment, and go ahead and put that on your card front. I liked mine up here in the corner, so I'm going to stick with that, but you can play with it. I think I'm going to do black memento. And I'm going to put it in the corner. There we go. Very cute. Now the next step is to see where you want your watermelon to be on your card front. You can use 1, you can use 2, you can use 3. That's up to you. Decide where you want them to live. I had an idea, and we're going to see, we're just going to see. I'm going to take a little bit more of that ribbon, and I'm going to make a bow by slipping it in here and tying it. This would also be good if you just have a tiny piece left for maybe a knot with some cute tails. I might do that too. Let's see. I'll go about there. I don't know. I'm into bows lately, guys. What can I say? Or you can tuck it. You can do whatever you want. Whatever looks good to you. But if you do something different, you know I want to see it. So please post your finished projects to the page. I give it a little haircut. Okay. There's my little ribbon. Cute. Now, I can figure out how I want to do my watermelon. I don't know why. I was thinking I wanted it kind of popping up like that. It's kind of thick though. I don't think I'll do that. I think I'm going to do it like that. Nope, like this. More towards the bow. I don't know. You do it how you want it to live. It's a hard decision. I don't know why, but it is. It matters because if you do it where everything is on one side, then your card's kind of off balanced. You know what I mean? Just depends. I like this. It's cute. Oh, I'm going to go down here. All right, there we go. I have made my decision. Done. Now let's go ahead and glue this to our card base. I glued it to the thing. There we go. Now notice I only used 2 wedges, so I can go ahead and put the 3rd wedge inside my card. And I am just going to make a frame around that focal point piece so that you see that pretty detail in the embossing. I don't know if that's even. No, of course it's not. Does anyone else struggle with even? I know I do. If you hear that snoring, it's my cat. My little craft buddy is tuckered out. He's sleeping in his little cat bed. Okay, there we go. Now we can decorate. I sent you some iridescent discs. Now on the example, I didn't feel like it needed it, but on this one, I definitely think it needs it. Just needs that little pop. You know what I mean? Let's do maybe one over here. I don't know. I sent you a bunch, so play with it, have fun. Okay, let me grab my embossing buddy. I'm just gonna put this over it so the sticky isn't there. Okay, here we go. There's the front of our card, super cute. I can't wait to see how yours turns out. Let's go ahead and do the inside. I'm gonna leave it blank because it says hello there so that I can leave lots of room to write whatever bestie I decide to send a card to, but I'm gonna go ahead and take that extra watermelon wedge. I'm gonna show you, you might have this, you might not, but this is called Watercolor Watermelon. It is a set that was available for Celebration a while ago. You could get it for free if you did a qualifying purchase. I was lucky enough to get this set. I used it to pretty up your class kit letter so you guys could see what that looks like. If you have something like this or even just some sort of foliage that you could use, like watermelon leaves or, you know, the vines, a pumpkin set would probably have the same type of leaves with the vines. But I just thought it would look really cute. Ink that up. Just stick some watermelon leaves on the side. Ooh, that's kind of dark. I'm using garden green. I think this would look good with maybe even the granny apple green or a lighter green, but that looks good. Watermelons are kind of dark. And I'm just gonna kind of put that wedge there. Now, does it make sense? Because at this point it wouldn't have leaves anymore. No, not really, but I still think it looks cute. My card, my way. You know what I mean? Look at that. So now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna glue that down. Inside my card. So there's the inside, here's the outside. That's the first card done. Okay, I'm gonna reset and we're gonna come back and do our second card. All right, we're ready to go with card 2. Look at all the detail in this card. Isn't it pretty? Those colors really pop. So we have our watermelon slice that we did during our class. Now we're going to go ahead and take our Melon Mambo card base, the card insert, the granny apple green, and the white embossed panels. You should have 2 flowers, a Melon Mambo and a granny apple green, and then a tiny flower for the middle in white. I used the bow punch and I made some leaves. And then I used the double oval punch I had to make a sentiment focal point. So that's the pieces. It should be the rest of your class kit. We're gonna go ahead and fold our card base and give it a good crease down. Now, normally I would tell you to set it aside, but we're gonna be working right on this surface. So you're gonna take your green piece and you're going to kind of kitty corner it on the front panel as much as possible, like that. And go ahead and adhere it down to the front cover. And kind of put it off to one side or the other. Okay, now we're going to take the embossed piece and we're going to, whatever side you put your green piece off to, push your white piece kind of to the opposite side. It just allows so that you can see that pretty paper and that detail underneath. Kind of play with it and see how you want it. You could double kitty corner. You could maybe make it straighter. I think I did it straight. So I centered it and I made it straight, and then you could just see the little pieces poking out around the edge. So that's what I'm gonna do. But play with it and decide how you like it. Put a little liquid adhesive. And glue it down. Very cute. It's just those little details, you know, that make it really pop. Okay, so now we can set this aside, let that glue cure for a minute. We're gonna pull in those flowers. Now what I want you to do, if you have a pen or something where you can take the cap, push it, or even your finger, you could probably do this just with your finger. Push the flower petals up. See what I'm doing? You can also take a bone folder and kind of curl the leaves up. Kind of like you're curling ribbon, only you're doing it with the paper. We just want to give that flower some dimension. Now we're going to repeat the process with our pink flowers or Melon Mambo. Okay. Okay, whew. I'm gonna crack my fingers. Now the last one. There we go. Now I'm gonna take just a little dot of glue. I'm gonna put it in the center. I'm gonna take the pink flower and put it right over the green one and kind of offset it so you can see that green. See that repeat pattern we're doing with the paper? Now I'm going to take the white one. I'm going to just give the flower a little inside. Like that. Okay, now we'll let that dry, and we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put a sentiment on the inside of our little oval. Now I've already used, I kind of switched my sentiments from cards, so let me see if this one will fit. Yeah, I think it'll fit. So we'll do a thank you card for this one. Ink that up. Perfect. And get right over top of it. Ooh, hold on guys. That's hard for me to see, like white on white. I don't know about on camera, but this will be much easier to line up. Okay, perfect. All right, now I can glue my sentiment. If you had some dimensionals, you could pop this up, but if not, just go ahead and glue it down. There we go. Now we're ready to assemble our card. Now I put my half slice right front and center, but you play with your materials and see how you want your card to look and where you want it to live. I'm sure what you do is going to be beautiful. And let that set for a second. And put my sentiment. And then I think I'm gonna fit my leaves and put those down before I put my flower. Last time I put my flower and I had to like squish my leaves. So play with it, position stuff, make sure you know where you want it, then go ahead and put your leaves down, then your flower. That is my suggestion. All right, so if this goes here, I think I'm gonna stick that up like that. Okay. There we go. Oh my gosh. I don't know. I like it. I loved it the first time, love it the second time. I feel like it went together so much easier the second time. Probably because I knew what I was doing at that point. So let's see. I'm gonna put a few little shinies around. Let's get a green one up here. I don't know, what do you think? Is that enough? I think it's enough. I think it's good. So there's that. All we have to do is the inside. Let me see what I did. Oh, okay. So for the inside of this card, again, I just left room for writing and I used that watermelon set to stamp off. So I think I'm just gonna leave this one for, I might go back with some extra Zany Zinnia paper and just put a strip of paper in there. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Sometimes I have to mull it over, you know? go ahead and we'll put the insert in. So there's our card done. Let me pull in our finished projects. Okay, guys, we did it. Okay, guys, you made it. We finished the class. I hope you learned a lot. I hope you had a good time. Make sure you sign up for August class. We're going to do the markers Daffodil Delight and Blueberry Bushel. I am so excited to be going on this blending journey with you. See you soon. Bye.